your business will always be broken. Why is it so hard? Because we pivot too much. If you are hiring a marketing agency and you're saying that you want them to run this offer, but you don't understand what you're selling, then how do you know it's going to work for you? If you could 4x your sales by making sure your leads were contacted within 60 seconds of opting in, is that worth it? How do you build a 7-figure med spa? How do you take your wellness business and scale it to that point, the point that we all want to hit, which is the elusive 7 figures? How do you make it happen? Why is it so hard? Does it feel hard? Does it feel like a struggle every single day? If so, I promise you, you are not alone. You just have to understand why. So in this video that I'm about to walk you guys through that you're going to view here, I'm going to take you through step by step on the roadmap that we have seen on how other wellness business owners, just like yourself, med spa owners, medical weight loss clinics, selling body sculpting, selling weight loss services, how they have been able to scale past 7 figures, build teams, and be in a place where they can go from 3 locations to 30 locations. If that is something that you are interested in, I promise you this video is going to help you take those next steps. It's going to give you a very clear understanding of what it looks like and what you have to change today in your business to be able to get there. All right, so today we are talking about the roadmap, the 7-figure roadmap to how do you scale your med spa, your wellness business, how do you get it to 7 figures and beyond. It is the goal. It is what we all dream for when we open up a business, which is, yes, let's hit 7 figures, but the reason why we want to hit those 7 figures is because what we desire as a business owner. If you've opened up your business, if you have a vision for it, then I think you're going to agree with what I'm about to say, where we want to make money. We want to improve our lives. We want to change our situation with a business, right? We want the profits. We want to see the benefits of that, but I don't think that's really it. I think as a business owner, when we dream of a great company, we dream of a great business, we see a vision where we have a team in place that can operate like madmen. They are A players. They can drive your sales. They can drive your traffic. They can take care of your clients. And you know that you could send your mom there and she would get an amazing experience. I see a high energy culture. I see clients that are raving fans, that are leaving great reviews, that are staying year after year, constantly spending money in the business because of what they get from there. When I think of vision for business, when I opened up my first wellness business over a decade ago, that was the vision I had in mind. And so if that is the vision you have in mind for your business, then I promise you by focusing on how to get it past 7 figures, it's not just going to benefit you because the profits you're going to make, the revenue you're going to see, yes, that's all exciting. But the reason why it's going to be so impactful is because of you finally having that business that you envision when you said yes to being the crazy person and opening up the doors. So if that is you, you are in the right place with this video. We're going to go into it. I want you to grab your notepad. I want you to take notes. I want you to pause when you need to pause. I want you to think about what you need to think about. I want you to come back, digest this video multiple times. I want you to take your time with it because what I'm about to lay out with you is going to come from a decade of being in this business. It's going to come from working with hundreds of other business owners, seeing them get there and seeing how that blueprint worked. And so it's going to give a lot of detail. It's going to feel like a lot, but I promise if you pay attention to this video, you take great notes, and you really think about your situation, you're going to get a lot of value from this that you can take and go and apply. Sounds good? Let's get into it. The place that we have to start with is what I call the uncomfortable truth. It is the reality of being a business owner. It's the reality of being in business. And a lot of times we ignore this reality. My wife will tell you this. My team will tell you this. Sometimes I can be a pessimist. And so it can look like I'm being very negative, but what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to understand the reality of the situation. Because I believe that as a business owner, that is your job. You have 2 places that you need to have your focus in. You need to have your focus into the future. You need to be thinking 3 months, 6 months, a year ahead, right? You have to be a visionary. But the other place that you have to have your focus at is what is the reality of the situation that you're in today? What is the reality of not just your business and your personal situation, but what's the reality of the industry? Because if you understand those things, then now what you can do, which is your job as the owner, is to build the roadmap from that reality into the future of where you're looking to take this company. I usually see 2 opposites. I usually see the business owner that is so focused on the vision, on where they're trying to go, and they lose the reality starting point. And so what they have is they have this amazing business that they see in the future. They have all the opportunities that they want to chase, all the things that they want to sell, all the ways that they want to help their clients, and they put the focus there. But what happens is if I tell you to go run a marathon and I don't tell you where the starting line is and I only tell you where the finish line is, how are you going to do? And so if we're doing that with our team, it can become this very stressful environment that they're working in. But then we have the flip side of that, where we have the business owner that doesn't look at that vision at all. They're not 2 steps ahead. They're not playing chess, and they're so focused on the present reality. And then what happens in that case is that business owner is usually a slave to their business. They're stuck there in the present. They're dealing with the fires. They're always so problem focused. What we have to be able to do is we have to be able to live in both worlds. We have to understand the reality, understand the vision, and be the people that can paint the road to getting there for our team. Let's talk about the reality right now. The reality is that only 6% of entrepreneurs hit 6 figures. Think about it. 6%. Only 6% of entrepreneurs can get a business doing 10K per month with staff. Only 2% of entrepreneurs hit 7 figures. 2%. So that means if I take you and 100 other med spa owners, wellness business owners, and put you in a room, the data shows us that only 2 of you guys are going to hit 7 figures. It's an uncomfortable reality, but it is the truth. In that reality, we have to understand why. Why is it so hard? Why is it a 2% success rate? And it's because of everything that it takes to get there. To build a 7-figure business with multiple team members in place, this is what you're looking at from a reality standpoint. You have to understand how to market. Do you have new lead flow every single day coming from multiple sources? You have to understand how to get those people in the door. Can you take that lead flow and turn that into prospects that are walking into your door on a daily basis for consultations ready to be sold something? You have to have a true sales process in place. Can you take someone off the street and in 2 weeks' time, train them up to the point where they can run your sales process, they can turn those leads that are walking to the door into clients that are paying your business? And then from there, we have to move into fulfillment. What are the results that you're getting your clients? What's their experience look like? Are they becoming raving fans? How are they taking care of post-service? How are they taken care of during service? We have that fulfillment that has to happen. And then from there, we have to now think about how do we make those clients worth more to the business? How do we increase their lifetime value? How do you get them to purchase again and again and again? And you take all of that, you need process, people, systems in place for it to work. And that's not even the half of it. The other half of it is, what about your financial situation? What about your taxes, your legal, your HR? How are you getting applicants, right? How do you constantly have people that you're able to interview? What about the 100 other things that you have to think about that cost you time and cost you money as the business owner? And so that's a pretty broad nutshell of everything that takes, the things that you see in a successful business. If you're listening to all of those things, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And that is okay, because that's the reality of the situation. All of those things I just listed off have to be dialed in for you to be able to take a business and scale it past 7 figures consistently. We know the reality, but then we also have the vision side of things, right? What does it look like when it's fully cranking? What if you have lead flow coming in from paid ads, organic, you have referrals, you have website search traffic coming through, right? You have abundant lead flow. What if you have a lead nurture system in place to where those people get nurtured properly? That's the start of your client experience, and they're walking in the door already more excited about you than any other business that they've interacted with. What if you have a full team on staff that can sell just the way that you can, if not better? And then what if you have your operations dialed in, you have your financials, you have your reporting, all of those things are there at a touch of a button to where you know exactly the health of your business. That's the vision. What other opportunities could you take? How many locations could you open up? What new service could you add in to focus on now for your clients to increase their results? There's so much opportunity that can come when you have a dialed in business. And so this is why it's so important that we have to understand what is the reality of today and what's the vision of tomorrow. And then now we can connect those points and start to take action on what do we need to do to actually get there. Some things I also want to give you here that I think is really interesting. Let's do a little activity. Take your phone, Google your favorite place that you like to go eat. Google the business that you most frequent, the gym that you like to go to. So I did this with Chipotle. I did this with Lifetime Fitness. That's the gym I love. That's the food I love. Chipotle is about to do, I think last year they hit like $9.9 billion in revenue. They're going to be a $10 billion a year company. Great revenue, great numbers, great profit. They've been in business for a long time. Google them, look at their reviews. They average about a 3-star review per location. What does that tell you? Business will always be broken. Okay, so you need to know that. Look up Lifetime Fitness, right? Almost $3 billion in annual revenue, consistently growing, doing a lot of new things in the game. They average a 4-star review, sometimes lower. What I'm trying to get at here is that we have the reality of the situation, we have the vision of what we want to go to, but what you have to understand as you embark on this journey is that your business will always be broken. It will never be perfect. And one way to look at that is look at successful businesses, and we can find so many holes of where that business is still broken. And so if Chipotle, that's doing $10 billion a year, can do that and still be broken, what does that mean for your small business? It means that you can grow. You can build this. You just have to understand that along the way, there will always be problems. And that is the point of business. It is to solve problems. The biggest place that we want to start is, where did this roadmap come from? Over the last 2 years, we have spent over $4 million in advertising, about a 15x average return on ad spend, so about $60 million in new revenue generated for our clients. We could take that, put it on a headline, market it to death, and consistently get new clients in the door with that. But there was one big problem that I saw. And the problem that I saw was that of that $60 million in revenue, 30% of clients made up 80% of that revenue. What I saw here is that we can generate leads for hundreds and hundreds of clients, but why does all of the revenue go towards 30%? And this is where I started looking into the fact of that it's not just about marketing. It's not just about having a great agency. It's not just about having great lead flow. It's about having a real business that lead flow is pouring into. And so if you have been the business owner where we have all made this, I did this mistake in the beginning where I thought that the solution to my problems, the answers to my prayers came from having a really good agency. If someone can get me a ton of leads, if I can just get leads, then my business is going to grow. But hopefully the truth, the reality, the stats I'm showing you here will break that belief for you. Because if you are not a part of that 30%, then that shows you that the 70% of other people had the same lead flow, had these same advertising campaigns, some of them in the same state with the same demographics, same people that we're marketing to, and underperformed drastically compared to that 30% case load, okay? And so what that shows you is that it's not just about lead flow. Don't get me wrong, lead flow is a part of the solution. Lead flow is a part of the roadmap. It has to happen. You have to have new blood coming through. But what we have to understand is that the business matters most. Because if that's not there, then you will be a part of the 70% of people that switch up marketing agencies, quarter after quarter, trying to go and find that new thing that can bring new business into your place. What did we do from here? This is where it got really interesting. As we decided that instead of being the typical agency where we just churn off 70% of our clients, we keep those 30%, we keep finding the right business owners, the next thing you know, few years later, we have the right clients on hand, and we're generating great results. We decided to not go that route. Instead, what we decided to do was, let's figure out those 30%, who are they? Why are they different? What are they doing in their business that allows them to take the same lead flow and get a 15x return on marketing spend? And so we found those people. We decided that what we're going to do is spend months and months traveling to locations, going on site, hopping on Zoom calls, interviewing their staff, looking through all their processes and figuring out, why are they working, right? Why are they able to scale? Why are they able to open up multiple locations and do it at large? And it was so interesting to see what we found is that we found that in all those specific cases, there is a roadmap present. There is a way that they have gotten to where they're at. And it's not by accident. It's not by luck. It's not by being in the right area with the right demographic who, has the high income. And I thought that was so interesting. And so that's where we get into the content that you're about to hear right now, which is on what is that roadmap? What are the steps to it? And how do you make it happen in your business? There's a place that I like to start with, which is called the starting line. I gave the analogy earlier, if you're going to go out and run a marathon and all I did was give you the finish line and said, go for it, it's going to be very tough to accomplish that goal, right? You're probably going to give up before you even get started. Most people wouldn't even start if I didn't tell you where the starting line is. Or you're going to get started and you're going to end up running 2 marathons versus 1, trying to figure out where you're going. All of these businesses that we analyzed when we did a deep dive, we realized that there was always a starting point in place. In the starting line, what we have to do is first realize that we do have a broken business. Like I gave the analogy with Chipotle, Lifetime Fitness, name it, right? Go look up any other business. And what we have to realize is that we have a broken business. We always will have a broken business. There will never be a business that is perfect, operating like a machine. Okay? Business is more like a garden, right? You have to tend to it. You have to pull the weeds. You have to protect it. You have to water it. You have to feed it, right? You have to constantly have attention on it. And most important, you need to know where that attention needs to go. And so the reason why I keep hitting on that is not to be negative about your business and just like, oh man, it sucks. Business is hard. Yes, it's like eating glass. That is business. But more importantly, if you understand that it's broken, then you can now start to look at where is it the most broken right now and what levers do you have to do? Where do you need to put the tape? What do you need to fix right now that's going to give you the most opportunity for scale? And so we start there. And then what we have to do is that we have to become aware of, okay, where do we put that attention, right? What is not working? Where are your problems? Do you have zero lead flow coming in? Are you not able to get other people in your company to sell? Do you have bad fulfillment? It's okay if you do, right? It happens. Right? If you think you're going to open up a business today and you're just going to have the best client experience possible when you have another business on the street that's been doing it for 10 years, you are out of your mind. Do you have bad reporting? Do you not understand your financials? Those are the things that we have to understand, which is what I call the language of your business. So I want to give you some kind of key points here on the starting line. The first place is the language of your business itself. Do you understand truly how a med spa or wellness business operates? Do you understand what are the important KPIs that you should be tracking? Do you know your lifetime value? Do you know your cost to acquire a client? Do you know your cost of goods service? Right? If you're selling a package on the front end, how much does it actually cost you to service that? How much does it cost you in marketing to get someone new to sign up for it? How much does it cost you in commissions to pay out to get someone to sell it for you? And then when you take all of those things, what is your true net profit margin? What are you operating at? If you don't know those things, then what you're doing is you're taking blind swings. If you are hiring a marketing agency and you're saying that you want them to run this offer and bring people in so you can sell them XYZ product, but you don't understand that what you're selling, what it's going to equate to from lifetime value, you don't understand what your profit margin is going to be on what you're selling, then how do you know it's going to work for you 3 years down the line? How do you know it's going to work long term? So you have to start to understand the language of your business. And then you have what I call something called the 5 core functions, which is lead generation, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, your retention and ascension, your upsells, things that increase lifetime value. If you understand the language of your business, the stats that you need to know, what you need to know about your business, and then you understand those 5 core functions, then now you have a great starting place. Because now what we can do is you can analyze your business itself. You can understand what KPIs are off, what needs your most attention today, and then you can look at those 5 core functions and figure out where in those functions are you falling short. And if you have this, then now you have the place to start. You know where to put your attention and what to focus on next. Now we move into what I call your engine check. Now what we can do is we can analyze your business, we can see what resources you have and see what is the immediate action point that you need to take. Some of the things I'm looking at when I'm sitting one-on-one with a business owner and we're going through this, it's going to be, for example, resources. And resources break down into a lot of different categories. Resources is going to be things like cash flow. Where are you truly at, right? Are you about to go out in business in 3 months if you don't get X amount of dollars in the door? If that's your place that you're at right now, then perfect. We need to understand it. We need to know it, right? What do you have resource-wise when it comes to cash flow? Staffing. What do you have resource-wise when it comes to staffing? Do you have some working front desk? Do you have someone that can call your leads? Do you have someone that can sell for you? Do you have someone that can deliver on the fulfillment and the experience for your clients? Do you have staff that are looking at operations? Do you have an accountant? Do you have a fractional, financial officer? Do you have those things in your business? And so your staff is going to be a huge area of resources that you can lean on. And then we also have to look at the business itself, right? What do you have space-wise? What do you have equipment? What services can you actually sell? How many consults can you actually take in the door? Where do you take your consults out? Do you even have a consult room in place? Tough to put a sales process in place if you don't have anywhere to sell people. These are the resources that we need to look at of what do you have access to today. And obviously, this is a video to many, right? So you might be watching this and your situation is going to be different than someone else that might be watching this video. And so that's why it's so important to have that starting line. And then now we have where we can look at the resources that we actually have on hand. That's the resource component of your engine check. Once we have that, we need to now move into what can you actually sell? What should you sell? If you're selling the wrong thing in your business, it's going to make it extremely hard for you to scale to 7 figures. There's a concept called one channel, one offer. And I don't care if you're selling medical weight loss. I don't care if you're selling sculpting, if you're selling red light, if you're selling recovery services, if you're selling cryo memberships, you need to understand what is going to be that one core offer, the one thing you can sell on the front end that's going to allow you to sell it consistently enough and profitably enough that allows you to scale past 7 figures in revenue. And now here's the good news. You only need one. You only need one great offer that you can sell consistently to be able to break past 100K per month in revenue. If right now you are not for sure on what that is, if you're trying to sell 10 different things, if you have a cheesecake factory looking menu to where someone walks in, you hand them this thing, or like, we have all these different packages, all these different options, which one do you want to do? Then you have a problem when it comes to your offer and what you're selling. So where you need to get to is, what is that one thing? Is it a transformation package that you put together and you know that you can get a high profit margin on it when someone starts in the door? They're going to get a great experience and they're going to now be able to purchase the other things that you offer. So we have to lock down what is the thing that you're going to sell. And now when we back into it, now we have to look at what happens after the sell. And this is so important because you can be a 7-figure business. You can do 100K per month in selling an offer on the front end, one offer, and doing it consistently and being really good at marketing and sales. But if your goal is to not just hit 7 figures, but to take this to where you can scale it, get yourself out of the day-to-day operations, eliminate fires, and be able to scale past multiple locations, right? I'm assuming that's your goal if you're watching this. Or be able to eventually sell your business if you just want to sell your business. Or if you just want to have a business that operates and gives you profit and you can take that vacation 4 times a year, then perfect. But if you want that to happen, then now the third place that we have to look at is, what is your client experience and what happens post first sell? And this is where we get in that conversation of lifetime value again. How many different times can you get someone to purchase again? How long can you get them to stay with you as a client? Those two things matter. And those two things fall more into what I call your category of operations. Fulfillment falls into that bucket. If you can start to think about that and think about what happens post sell, then you set yourself up for success and not only have a really good marketing and sales aspect of your business, but also a really good operations aspect. And that is what long-term allows you to get out of the business, have key team in place, have leadership staff, and to be able to scale to the moon. You have your starting line, you have your engine check, you've done an assessment on those 3 areas of cash flow, resources, what you're selling, and then what happens after the sell. For a majority of you watching this video, if you're watching a video about how to grow to 7 figures, I'm going to assume that you're not already there. Or if you are there, you're right on the line. And so if you're in that place, then the very next step that I want us to look at is going to be what we call client acquisition, right? Let's kind of travel back a little bit, look at those 5 core functions, right? We have lead generation, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, aka retention, and ascension, aka how do we upsell and get more dollars from the person that's paying us, okay? If we look at those 5 core functions, we take the first 3, lead generation, lead nurture, and sales, that boils down into what we call client acquisition. And so if you are not consistently doing 100K per month in revenue, this is usually the first place that you need to put your energy and you need to put your focus in your business. Because as I said earlier, you can take one key offer with one key marketing channel where you have lead flow coming through, and you should be able to hit 100K per month, which is exciting. It's cool. Right? If you just build that, you have a 100K per month business. But why does it not happen? Why is it so hard? Usually it's hard because we pivot too much. If you've been in business for more than a year right now, I think you can think of one time in business where you had great lead flow coming in and you were selling something consistently. But what happened? We got distracted. We lost focus. We tried to introduce another offer too soon. We tried to start adding on other avenues of getting lead flow too soon, right? And then we were inconsistent with the one thing that was working, and we did not scale it as we probably should have. So that's why it's so hard, right? It's easier on paper just to say one offer, one core offer, get 200K per month. But when it actually comes to doing it, that's where it can get tough. So let's break that down. Let's take that client acquisition. Let's break it down to those 3 first functions, right? Lead generation, lead nurture, and sales. So client acquisition, right? It starts with that first function, which is going to be lead generation. Lead generation, right? We can just take that and let's trade it out with marketing, right? So it's first off focusing on your marketing. And so a couple of rules to marketing that I think is really important is the first one is understanding that paid is the fastest way. It really is. You can try and grow organically. You can try and get referrals to the door. All those things will matter long-term, and they are long-term strategies that really come into play when you're looking to scale past 7 figures. But if your fastest way to getting new people in the door, getting to 100K per month in a new offer that you are selling is going to come through paid marketing. Now, that could be paid marketing with Meta, which is what I would recommend because you'll see some of the fastest results because it's direct marketing. Direct marketing is where we're going straight to someone, giving them an offer. The goal is for them to click on something, get in the door within less than a week. You have other paid avenues that are a little bit more of long-term marketing, which are more intent-based. That's Google, that's SEO. That's why those things will cost you a lot more. They'll take longer to get traffic in, but that traffic that comes in is usually going to be a lot more qualified because those are people that are searching you out. They're already looking for the service that you offer, and then they're finding you because of Google and SEO. And so there's a lot of different types of paid marketing. If you are someone right now where you are just getting started, you have no lead flow coming in, then my recommendation is you go to paid meta marketing. We go social media first. Okay. You're going to get lower quality, but you're going to get higher volume, which means more reps, which is what you need if you are in a situation where this is new for you. So we need to start there. The second thing that I keep hitting on is going to be one channel, one offer. So a lot of times what I see, a lot of people will take their marketing budget and they'll break it up in like 5 different components. Hey, we're going to put this much towards SEO, this much towards paid Google for searches. We're going to put this much towards Meta, and we're going to put some, other stuff towards, maybe it's Pinterest. I've seen some people do that. Please don't do that. Maybe it's TikTok. Maybe it's other channels of marketing as well. And so what happens is you take that ad budget, you slice it up, and now you have a much lower chance of actually getting the result that you want. And so just like I said, you can have one great offer that you sell to get you to 100K per month. The same thing is true for your channel. Now, for example, we have a client that's spending about almost $25,000 to $30,000 per month on just Meta ads alone. And that's what has allowed them to scale to $3 million plus. And now at that point, now here, we're still trying to figure out how do we get more out of that because the return on investment is so high. But now they have permission to start looking at other channels of how can we get lead flow from other sources. So for you, if you're not doing $3 million a month, if you're not consistently doing 150K plus per month in new business, then I recommend that you just figure out one channel first because it's going to take time, right? It's not something where you just hire a marketing agency, you flip it on, you're like, good, we're good to go. It's going to take time to figure out the entire system. So start with that one channel mindset always. Push your marketing budget towards one thing. Once you have figured that out, you need to figure out what is the best offer for you to actually market. And this is going to be different based off of what your core offer needs to be, what you want to sell when they walk in the door. My recommendation is that you can go 2 different paths. We can have a path that we call a low barrier offer path. And so this is like your Groupon style marketing. So for example, let's just say you sell sculpting. And so this is where you would run an ad for, $149 first time session. And so now you have people coming in the door on a discounted offer. They know what that offer is. So they walk in the door and now the goal is to upsell them into a bigger ticket package. That's one avenue we can go. That avenue works. The other avenue we can go, and this is especially useful if you are someone that can sell higher ticket items, you offer multiple things such as medical weight loss, sculpting, slimming, facials, recovery services. If you offer multiple components to your arm, then the way that you might want to go is what we call transformational marketing. And so this is where we develop an offer that is not a Groupon style offer, right? Like $149 first time session. This is an offer where we're going consult based. So what they're taking you up on is going to be a free consult. The reason this is really important if you have multiple things you can sell for higher ticket amounts is because when we get them to that consult, we can now have a diagnostic sales process, right? Where we figure out their needs, we figure out their desires, their goals, where they're trying to go, right? Their pain points. And then you can build a package for that person that's $3,000 plus. And so you have 2 avenues you can go. There is no wrong answer here. Right? If you're someone where you just offer medical weight loss, that's the only thing you offer, then you might want to go towards that low barrier option. If you're someone that has multiple services and you're good with that, and you have someone like you or you have a staff member that can sell higher ticket in the consults, then advertising and going towards getting people to book for consults is going to be a little bit better than getting them booked for like a Groupon style discount ad. And so you have to figure out what is that avenue going to be for you and stick to it. Marketing, we've decided that we're going to take all the budget and we're going to put that towards one channel. We're then going to go ahead and figure out what that one channel is going to be. I recommend if you're just getting started, it's something like meta marketing. And then we figure out what is from the marketing angle, the ads that we're going to run. Are we going to go more Groupon based discount to get them in the door? Or are we going to go more towards consult to sell a higher ticket option on the front end? Okay. So we have those 3 things. Now we can start to take action on the marketing arm itself. Once we move from marketing, right, when we look at client acquisition, if you remember, client acquisition breaks down into 3 different parts. We have lead generation, aka marketing, and then now we move into the second part, which is what we call lead nurture. So this is usually the bane of everyone's existence when it comes to getting people in the door. I'm assuming if you've used a marketing agency before, you might have had the experience where they tell you, hey, we got you 100 leads, but you're looking a week later and you're like, of those 100 leads, only 2 people walk through the door. And so that's tough for you, right? That becomes tough to be able to scale those systems. But then the honest truth here, you have to be a business owner. You have to pull up your big boy or big girl pants and be a business owner, and you have to look into what we call the business mirror. If you had 100 people raise their hand, give you their contact information, and you can't get 30% of them to book an appointment, 15% of those 100 people minimum to walk through the door, is that your marketing agency's fault? Or do you have a broken lead nurture process? If you want to blame your marketing agency, if you want to blame the leads, you can do that, but you have no control. But if you actually want to grow your business, if you want to build a 7-figure business that can scale, then you need to choose the other path, which is you need to take ownership over the fact that you have a broken lead nurture system. You have leads now, but you can't get them in the door. You have a broken lead nurture system. And so for lead nurture system, what I mean in here is, what is your process for 1, getting your leads to book appointments, and 2, getting those booked appointments to actually show up and walk through the door? That's what we mean by lead nurture system. And so if you have leads coming in, but you don't have people walking through the door, then now we can start to look at the lead nurture system and figure out what do you need to put in place to make it successful. The first thing we're looking at is booking percentage. That's the first KPI that you want to be able to track and understand what's happening. It's a very easy KPI to track. All you have to do is take how many leads did you get over the last 30 days and then figure out of those leads, right? Let's say you had 100 leads over the last 30 days. How many of those 100 people actually booked an appointment with you? This does not mean that they showed. That just means that they booked an appointment. Once you know that percentage, if that percentage is below 30%, then we know we have a booking issue. And then from there, the second KPI that we want to look at is what we call show percentage. Over the last 30 days of those people, right, let's just say you had a 30% booking rate, so you had 30 out of those 100 book appointments, how many of those 30 people actually walked through the door and were qualified? And when I say qualified, does that mean that they purchased something, right? If they give you objections and things like that, that does not mean that they weren't qualified. That means that you have a sell process issue. But how many people walked through the door and they were actually your avatar? That's going to give us our qualified show percentage. And take out the qualifications, and then we can even just look at show percentage. How many of those 30 people walked through the door? If that is below 40%, we have a show rate issue, right? We have an issue getting our book leads to show up. And you may be looking at your stats right now, right? You might pause this video, go do the math, and actually look at your stats and realize that you not only have a booking percentage issue, but you also have a show issue. And if so, it's okay. It's just the reality of the situation, and we know we have some work to do. So when we're looking at lead nurture to improve booking percentage, we usually have 2 things that we have to improve. Number 1 is going to be speed to lead. Harvard Business did a study that leads that were contacted in under 60 seconds from opting in during business hours equated to a 391% increase of sales, 4x. If you could 4x your sales by making sure your leads were contacted within 60 seconds of opting in, is that worth it? Answer is yes, okay? Because if you could hire someone full-time, 40 hours a week, to just only have one job, which is to make sure that your leads were contacted within 60 seconds, and you knew that could 4x your sales, is it worth paying someone $2,000 a month to do that? Hell yes, right? Because if you 4x your sales, you're going to make way more than $2,000 per month. So the first place we always look at is what we call speed to lead. How fast can our leads be contacted? The second place that we can look at to improve booking percentage is going to be the volume of contacts made. So not only does that 60-second window matter to be able to get someone on the phone and get them to go from giving you their information to being excited about booking an appointment with you, the other factor that we have to hit into is that people have lives. I guarantee you if they were scrolling and they saw your marketing, they clicked on it, you're probably not the only business they did that for. I guarantee you that they did it when they were distracted. Guarantee you that they have a job, right? Hopefully they do if you want them in your door. They might have kids, right? They might have other responsibilities happening in their life. And so these are busy people. Think of how busy you are. And so what that means is that contact volume matters. And the easiest way to look at this is how many times does a lead get contacted within their first 5 business days of opting in? If that is less than 15, then you have a problem. That means that 3 times a day for 5 days straight, a lead that is not booked should be being reached out to by your business. If you have those 2 things in place, speed to lead and then the right contact volume, I promise you, you will increase your booking percentage. And then now we get to show percentage. How do you increase show percentage? The first one that starts with is going to be scripting. What is actually being said on the phone? If we're just calling people like they are already your clients and they already owe you anything, right? Because they owe you nothing. This is just a prospect that's trying to, you have a chance now to win their business. And so if you think that by just calling them and having someone just say, hey, John, saw you booked for tomorrow, just want to confirm your appointment. Good, awesome, perfect, bye, we'll see you then. If you think that that is good enough to get someone to show up, you are wrong. And so scripting matters, right? How are we qualifying people in that first call? How are we kind of digging a little bit into the pain point and the desires of that person to make them excited about taking the time out of their day to drive to your business and show up to be pitched to, right? Because they're not even showing up for service, they're showing up for a consult. And so we have to make sure that the scripting is on point. And that's the first place we always start with increasing show percentage. Now, the second place we look at is going to be what we have in follow-up cadence. How do we confirm appointments? How do we remind them of their appointment? Do we have automations going out for the reminders? Do we have a personalized confirmation process, right? Do you call someone 24 hours before to remind them of their appointment? Do you send a video text? Do you give them the instructions of, hey, we're located next door to the Starbucks, just so you know, it's easy to miss, right? Do you give that level of detail? And so those are all things that can increase your show percentage if you have the system and process in place to do so. Now we've covered the first 2 functions of client acquisition, right? Lead generation, aka marketing, lead nurture, how do we get them in the door? So what's happening right now is if you have those things in place, you have leads coming through, you have people being booked, you have people showing up in the door. And now we get to the final part, right? Which is where we put it all together of client acquisition, which is sales, right? Lead generation, lead nurture, sales. And so your sales that you have to look at is the first thing is you need a process that can scale. Because remember, we talked about how the goal here is to not just to get to 7 figures, not just to do 100K per month in new revenue, is to also get to a point where you do not have to be in the weeds of everything in your business. And so to do that, that means that you need a true sales process in place, because you cannot just hire people and expect them to be able to generate sales, to take care of those people that you have paid for to get in the door and close them appropriately. So a sales process is needed. From a high level on a sales process, the components that you have to look at is going to be, number 1, what happens when they walk in the door? What is that experience? Number 2, social proof. When they're in the door, how do they understand that your business is the business they should choose? How do they know it works? What results do they see? What are clients saying about your business, right? What can you do for them and visually show them that they can see the social proof? Number 3, your intake process. The sell before the sell. Before you ever get into a consult with someone, to start to discovery, to see what they need, to pitch them something, what is happening in that pre-consult process? Do we have a pre-sell questionnaire form that they're filling out? Do we take them through a body analysis? Do we do a tour of the facility first to show them everything there, right? What happens in that pre-consult process? And the next thing we get into is the consult itself, right? This is where scripting matters. This is where what we say matters, what questions we ask, right? How we dig on pain, how do we figure out their desires? All of this now happens in hand-to-hand combat in that sales consult itself. And if you expect someone to just magically know how to do that without having a process in place to follow, you're going to be disappointed with inconsistent sales numbers, and you're going to see that your people always close in the lowest ticket item that they can sell, which is not what you want. And then lastly, what happens post-sell, right? This is the sell after the sell. This is what sets up the client experience for success. It sets expectations appropriately. It gives them next steps. It stops them from backing out. And most importantly, it gets them to purchase other things from you as well. This sales process is so important because this is what rounds it out, right? If you have great marketing, if you have great lead nurture, and you have a great sales process, you have a $100,000 per month business off of one core offer, which I hope excites you because it is a very exciting thing to be able to accomplish. We talked about kind of that, what we needed to do, right? The starting line, your engine check, understanding your business, understanding where you put your focus, focusing on client acquisition. And so now where we go from here, right, to be able to scale long-term, to get to 3 million plus, to get to multiple locations, to be able to sell your business if you ever want to sell your business. Now we get into what we call business operations. And this is the final step in the roadmap. It is a complicated step. It is a never-ending step, but this is where business operations matter. Because now we have marketing, we have lead nurture, we have sales, but now we need to put that all together to figure out how do we have an appropriate fulfillment process for our clients? How do we have a great client journey that's going to equate to clients wanting to stay longer with you and purchase more? Because your most expensive component of your business is client acquisition. It will make you a lot of money, but it is your most expensive component because you have to pay for marketing, you have to pay for lead nurture, you have to pay for closing commissions, right? You have to pay to get that person in the door. But now that we have them in the door, it's going to be your business operations where the profit comes from. Okay, I want to make that clear. Profit comes from your operations. Profit comes from being able to take a client, give them a great experience where they stay long and they purchase more and you increase their lifetime value because that's where you're done paying, right? You already paid for the client, you have them, and now every other dollar on top that they spend in your business for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, every person they refer, right, is now going to go straight to your bottom line. That's where your profit comes from. And then to be able to operate it consistently, to have a manager in place, to have leadership staff, to have clear financials, clear KPI tracking, those are all going to come down your operational process. And so that's a whole nother hour-long video that we will dive into at a future point. But guys, I hope you're excited to kind of be able to see this, to understand the reality of your business, the vision of where you want to take it, and what you can be able to do with it. So go out, take action, rewatch this video if you need to, look at your notes and figure out exactly where you need to put your focus today to build that 7-figure business that can scale long term. I hope you are pumped. I hope you got a lot of value from that training lesson. If so, I just ask for one favor. Guys, we are going to continue to drop content like this, content like no one else is doing it, right? Showing you the real stuff, the best stuff, things that we're walking our clients through on a daily basis. If you want us to continue to put more stuff like that, let us know that you are there. Let us know you're watching. Every time I see a new subscriber come through, then I am more motivated to keep making content like this because I know there's a new person that needs help. And so if that's you, please hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Let me know any area in your business that you are currently working on, where your focus is, where you would like to see more content, and I will put that on our docket. My team will let me know. And the more we see of something, the more priority we'll be putting on making that video next.